Where are the people? I'm 1 minute late. 3 minutes late. Sorry. I know there's load shedding in some parts. Anyway, let's see who shows up. Vuyiswa Thokoza njani? Hlengiwe, how are you? Unjani. Hello guys. Wow. From 0 to 11. Boom. Just like that. Sibabalwe ninjani. Thank you guys for showing up. Thank you. I know I was just saying I'm 3 minutes late, but better late than never. How is everyone? Modeline, Thokoza Sithandwa. Neyo, unjani, Thokoza Kehla. Ninjani. Cebo lethu Zondelele, Thokoza. Ria Rabilwe. Thokoza, Petunia, Thokoza. The necklace I like and I want. I was given as a gift. So I don't know where it was bought. I would have to look for it. Riatile. Amahle, Thokoza. Amahle, I see you in some very strange places, but that's besides the point. Nkululeko, Tabang. Ninjani, Belinda. Ninjani, Bakwantu, ninjani. I'll just wait for a little bit. I don't want to say the wrong thing. Machega. Ninjani. I'll just wait for more people to come on. Let's see how many more we have. I know there's load shedding going on in some places right now. But then, if you miss this live, you can always watch on the replay. Can you guys hear me better now? I think my volume was low. Zama, Thokoza, Slindile, Thokoza, Ninjani, Lady Lee Ntuli, Thokoza from Cape Town. Yes, please do let me know where you're tuning in from. Davi Singh, Thokoza, and Davi Singh is a regular. Are you a regular Davi Singh? Or maybe it's another Davi Singh. Unati, Thokoza, Thokozani, guys. Thokozani. Let's see who else. Okay, you know what? We're at 30. I'm going to start. People can join in as they join in. I did say 12 o'clock, so. Masiqaleke sithokozise, Thokozani, Chamagwini, Lesedi Lehanya, Ndawu Eshewe, Kedu, Jambo, Muribwanji, Makadini Henyu, think Kedu, Kilode, Nangadef, Ninja, Thokozen. So guys, today we want to talk about the principle of Anpu. First and foremost, I think, let me just get hold of this calendar real quick. I think what we might want to do is to recap a little bit, by looking at the calendar. So when we talk about these principles are energies. What is energy? Energies, frequencies, and these frequencies are all different. If you look up the word frequency or you look up frequencies, you will see that in the universe, there are different frequencies. And actually, it is these frequencies or energies or principles that resulted in the creation of this earth and everything in it, and even in the cosmos, right? So when we talk about Anpu, we are not talking about a person. However, our ancestors knew and wanted to make this knowledge accessible to everybody, from the most learned person to the farmer on the ground, so that they could understand themselves and could understand the universe and nature. Everything that we talk about and do is based on nature. And as I talk about Anpu, you will start to see how this is connected with nature. the more you work with these energies in terms of trying to learn and understand them, the more you will realize just how nature-centered African spirituality is. If it is not nature-centered, it is not African spirituality, right? And so in understanding these energies and principles, you also get to understand the science behind it, because African spirituality is nothing more than science. And while I use English to teach, there are words in our vernacular languages for a lot of what I talk about. But for the sake of universality and for the sake of unity and for the sake of building bridges amongst ourselves, rather than me speak in pure isiZulu or pure Chikaranga or pure, Sesotho, that would automatically eliminate millions of people from Kenya, from America, from all over the continent as well, from the Caribbean, who unfortunately are united to us through the medium of English. So I also want to say that these teachings are for Bagwantu. These teachings are for the melanated, carbonated beings. If you're not that, please just go away, actually. I don't even know why you're here and I don't know why you're following me. Angifuni nina balungu, angifuni anybody else. I'm not here for anyone except Bagwantu. Therefore, you're either going to sit quietly while I speak, and I don't want to see your comments, because as soon as I see your comments, I'm going to block you, and learn something about your contribution to the mess that Bagwantu find themselves in. I am playing with y'all. Okay? Right. So this is the calendar. The calendar is divided into these 12 principles or 12 energies. And the way we use this calendar is we follow it because it is seasonal. Everything we do has to do with the season. So for example, the new year is in September. Why? Because that is spring. Makes sense, right? New year, new beginnings. That is logic, and that's how simple spirituality is. Now, if you happen to be born within this season, which starts, I think, where is it? Where's the season of Asar? Right here. This is it, where you start. So if you're born within that season, it helps you to understand yourself better if you go and study the quality of this principle or electromagnetic energy and what it does in the world, what it does in the universe, what it does to nature as we see it. Once you've understood that, you then look at yourself to see how you align with that principle under which you were born. Put it this way, the same way many of you will use the horoscope is the same way that you would use the African calendar to understand yourself based on the energy or principle during which you were born. Right? So now we're here in the season of Anpu. Anpu is represented by the jackal, and I'll explain why. And the story is that our ancestors observed the jackal. And the jackal is one of these animals that digs up shallow graves. It's also one of these animals that will bury, if it kills a prey, it will bury it for a certain time until it starts to decay, and then it'll pull it up and then it'll consume it. So our ancestors realized in observation that the jackal as an animal, it's a wild dog basically, presided over things that happened around death and around burial. So this principle or energy is basically named or based after the qualities that you see in a jackal. Why is this so important? It's important because every single one of these principles has an animal associated with it. And these animals came to be because our ancestors would observe what these animals were doing and then associate them with a certain energy or principle that was similar. So who's Anpu? Anpu is basically the god who is responsible for the rites of passage around death, burial, and also responsible for what happens to the human soul. Remember, you are a soul first before you are a human being, right? You are a spirit having a human experience. And when this body tires, or for whatever reason this body goes, your spirit lives on. So Anpu is responsible for escorting the spirit to what is called the chamber of judgment, where Anpu presides or watches over the weighing of your heart against Ma'at's feather. The Agikuyu have a saying when they are wishing someone well, they'll say something like, "May your heart be light as a feather, Ma'at." So these are signs too for those people who think this Kemetic knowledge belongs in Egypt. It doesn't. Kemet is Africa. That's how the Agikuyu can have a saying that says, "May your heart be as light as a feather." Why? Because the lightness of your heart is determined by all the good actions that you did when you were on this side of the earth. So when your heart is light, when it's weighed after your body dies and your soul transition, and it's weighed in the chamber of judgment, and there is a balance, that indicates that you are a pure and innocent soul. Anpu then escorts you to the realm of the ancestors. If if, on the other hand, your heart is heavy and the scale does this and the feathers here, and there is a goddess by the name of Amit, Ammit, and Amit will just devour your soul. Meaning what? We always say energy is neither created nor destroyed, right? That still holds. But what then happens is the devouring of your soul means that your energy is transmuted into a form that can no longer reincarnate and come back into the world. It means you have done so many bad things. You don't have the capacity to ever come back. So when we say she devours your soul, we're talking about your spirit, which is energy. You are simply transmuted into a form that cannot come back here and do harm. I don't know, maybe you come back as a tree. Maybe you come back and probably not a rat, because then you'll still cause havoc. Maybe you'll come back as a tree, because a tree can't move. It's rooted in one place. Then to contain your toxic energy so that you don't go around doing the things that you were doing before. Right? I hope while I'm laughing, you're getting some sense out of this. It just amuses me sometimes, the things that go on in my head about people and their heart. So that is Anpu. That is this energy or principle. Now, I want to show you guys something. When your body dies, it gets buried, right? Your body decays. You're right, it rots. This body rots and joins the worms feed on it, and you join the soil. Basically, you become part of that, your physical body, right? What season are we in now? We are in the season where leaves are falling off the trees. These leaves will decay wherever they are, and they will do what? They will cause the soil to become fertile. So if you see the parallels, you'll see how absolutely genius our ancestors were in explaining the energies that were prevailing based on what you can observe in nature. Right? The other thing about Anpu is that this period that we've just gotten in is a period in which initiates are going into Amapehlo. Well, traditionally, that is. pre-colonization, there was only one time in the year where you could take in initiates, and it was this time. Makes perfect sense. Because also back then, an initiate did not go to work and then go and go to work the way we're seeing it now. An initiate, when they left their home to go epehleni or initiation school, they were removed from the world. Almost like a dying, right? You go in there. And of course, we know that with the processes, there's a thing called imvumo ukufa or ukuvuma ukufa is you accepting your calling and going ephehlweni. Do you see the parallels? In this time of Anpu, Anpu presides over people transitioning and going through a rite of passage, which is death. Death is simply a rite of passage. It's a gateway to somewhere else. We know this, right? Your body stays in the ground, decays, but your soul transitions from one place into another through that hall of judgment. Now take a look at this. When you're done with your training, you go through the actual initiation, right? When you are ephehlweni, you are learning things, you are absorbing information, you are in that death chamber, so to speak. Then the initiation happen, and I am not at liberty to go through those, but there are certain rituals where literally you experience a death and a rebirth. When you come out of there, you are coming out a transformed you. You are no longer the you that went in. Unless, of course, it's a mess and they're not doing anything for you. But you come out a transformed person. This is the role of Anpu. So do you see how it makes sense that this would be the season? This would be the season that is now opened up for people to go to initiation school. If it makes sense, say so. If it doesn't make sense, say I go asizukututin. So the season of Anpu is the place or the season or the time on our calendar when initiates go to initiation school. Right? The other thing too about Anpu is that Anpu, like I said, is the energy of regeneration. Regeneration means giving new life. So the soil has been robbed of its fertility by this time. Why? Because we planted things, they took up nutrients, we harvested, the soil is somewhat depleted. But guess what? Nature is amazing. The leaves fall, they decay, and they regenerate that soil. Right? Makes sense that this would be that season of Anpu, who is also the energy of regeneration. Now, here's something, and we're going to go deeper on this because I think this is very important. We're going to talk about Anpu as the principle within you that is your conscience. You see, when Anpu transports your soul into the hall of judgment, to the Ma'at scales, Anpu is not there to pronounce judgment over you. No, judgment is by yourself because your heart, the scale. Anpu doesn't need to say a word to you. You yourself see where you belong. And then you are escorted either to the realm of the ancestors, or Amit is waiting there, and you will take yourself to Amit and say, please eat me, I am your meat. Yo, I'm so silly. But do you get what I'm saying? That's why I always say in African spirituality, there's no judgment. You hold yourself accountable. Now, while you're still alive, who is helping you hold yourself accountable? We know we have the Ma'at laws. They are written within us, and I've encouraged you guys, please memorize those things so you can trigger your DNA memory, right? But as you learn those laws, your conscience, the thing that stops you from doing wrong knowingly is Anpu. So Anpu is the principle that governs that doorway, if you like, between your conscious and your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is what controls most of your life. And if there's a lot of horrible stories and narratives in there, that will manifest in your conscious, and that will manifest in how you live. So Anpu is your conscience. What is a conscience? A conscience, when you have a conscience, means that you have the ability to chastise yourself and to stop yourself from doing something wrong, even if nobody is watching you. See, because this journey has nothing to do with anybody. It's got nothing to do with bazuthina bantu. It's got everything to do with the state of your soul. You by yourself. The same way you came into this world by yourself, you're going to exit by yourself. You will go through the death rituals and the rites of passage for the soul by yourself. And at that point, you can't blame anybody for making you do anything. It's your heart, not anybody else's heart. It's your heart against the feather of my heart. Right? I want you guys to really think about this deeply this season. And I'll tell you why. Because there are many people who have killed their conscience. What do I mean? When you are faced with a situation and you know the right thing to do, and you intentionally choose to do the opposite, you kill it a little bit. You make it easier for yourself to do this same thing or do something else and override your conscience in different circumstances. There comes a point at which Unembeza, you don't have a conscience. You've killed it. Therefore, for you, anything goes as long as it serves your purpose. We see that in the kind of leaders we have in Africa. Once you've killed your conscience, you're a dead person walking. You're just a body walking, but we know your fate already. We know where you're going once you transition, right? So that's what I'm trying to say to you is your salvation or your elevation as a spirit, having a human experience, is in your hands and not anybody else's. We can come here and teach all day and talk all day, but if you are not practicing, if you are not living this life, we are wasting time. And woe to you because you know better. And when you know better, let me tell you, you need to do better. So I'll give you an example. Say you are somebody born during the season of Anpu. Basically, you are the voice of conscience, not just for yourself, but even in your life path. So for example, you're with a group of people and they start talking negative about someone. Talking negative about somebody is not a good thing. Your conscience will prick you first to say, you see, this thing we're doing is not right. That's your conscience. But then you are obliged to become the conscience of that group and say, guys, you know what we're doing is not right. What we're doing is not right. We are talking about somebody in their absence and we're spreading rumors about this person. We don't even have facts. That's you as Anpu. Are you doing that, Anpu? So, so if Anpu is your dominant principle, the principle under which you were born, I've written a little bit about Anpu. Go and seek yourself and see how you show up in the world. You are a peacemaker if you're that. A peacemaker who makes right things that people want to make wrong. You become the conscience before people continue along the wrong path. You're the one who's, and it's not an easy job because you stand alone usually. If you're a group of 12 people, you're at dinner with your friends, you're all drinking and everybody is now loose tongue and you decide to talk about somebody, you are obliged as one against the group of 11 to say, no, this is not right, what we're doing. Can we please stop? We have better things to discuss. You redirect the conversation by appealing to their conscience. Now, if their conscience is dead, then I feel for you. Personally, if I was an Anpu, I was around people like that, and I realized that, because sometimes they'll turn on you, I simply would pick up my purse and say, you know what, guys, ciao, good night, and leave. Because now you're showing spirit or umoya that I did my part and I don't want to be associated with this kind of heartless behavior, because this person has done us no wrong. This person does not deserve this kind of treatment. So what I'm trying to say to you is, if you are not in ma'at, even when nobody's watching, you are killing your conscience slowly, and there will come a point where it will become so easy for you to do wrong things without feeling guilt. Unembeza. You won't feel guilt, you won't feel shame. And the only time you'll say sorry is when you get caught. And so your apology is not even genuine at that point, because you're saying sorry because you got caught. If you hadn't gotten caught, you would have carried on doing whatever it is you were doing. Am I right? So you have to chastise yourself. You have to constantly watch how you're showing up and behaving against these principles of Ma'at, these 42 principles. Listen to the Anpu within you. Listen to this frequency within you. Because even if you weren't born at this particular time, it just means that that frequency is not the dominant frequency in you. But guys, note that we have all these frequencies within us, because these were the frequencies that developed us and formed us. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm Sekhmet, but I have Anpu. I'm Sekhmet, but I do have Alset. I have all these principles because these are the energies of creation. I wouldn't be here if one of those was missing. So you can't say, well, I'm not born in Anpu, therefore I can live a conscience-free life. You're lying to yourself. Every single person has it. It's just not your dominant one. And in this season, that's why in these seasons is an opportunity to focus on certain aspects of these principles. So here's your homework for the season of Anpu that I'm giving you. Check in with yourself and your conscience and the state of your conscience. Is it dulled? Is it very sharp? Or is it dead? If it's dead, you are a dead human walking. We are waiting. Amit is waiting for you. We're just waiting for you to go already. Because you're a pain in the butt. And there are many people like that. There are many people who are going to go very soon because they've caused so much trouble on this planet. It's not even funny. Like the world will be a better place without these creatures who have so killed their conscience. Do you think that somebody who unlives another person and then cuts them open and pulls their insides out just for control, do you think that person has a conscience? What about the one who assaults little children? I don't want to say these big words here because Facebook will shut this down. What about those ones who we call pedophiles? Do you think they stand a chance? Do you think they have a conscience? No, the conscience is dead. Do you think the kneeless ones, with all the atrocities that they've committed on this planet, have a conscience? No. Those ones are different. My own personal conviction is that they never had a conscience to begin with. Ngoba asobantu laba. Phuma ema cave. from the caves of Kokos there. That's why I don't even want them near me. Because I saw Bantu. So when you try to appeal to compassion in them or to the voice of conscience, you won't find it because ayiko. They weren't created like we were. They were born. So that they embody all these principles, I don't know, man. I don't know. Because lezo zinto lezo zi evil. Gab gab. Some will beg to differ. I mean, hey, I'm not here trying to convince you of anything. I'm simply sharing my own personal conviction about the kneeless ones. Ne? So nina bakwantu. This is a challenge for you. You see somebody beating someone or a woman on the street. Whether uyindlovukazi, whether uyindoda, whether you're male or female, what are you going to do? Will your conscience allow you to walk away and leave that poor woman who needs your help? Because if your conscience allows you to walk away, it means you have work to do on giving life to your conscience. How do you do that? Become aware of the times where you're about to do something that you know is right. See how easy it is for you to do the wrong thing. The ease with which it is for you to do the wrong thing is an indication that your conscience is dulled and you need to take a step back, you need to go inward, and you need to fix yourself. Because the problem with the things that kill your conscience is they become habit. And they become habit, and you have to live consciously to stop yourself from perpetuating that thing. So gossip is a simple one. Gossip is a habit. It becomes a very bad habit because you've killed your conscience over and over and over again until it's no longer there. Therefore, it's easy for you to open your mouth and speak negative over somebody's life. You no longer have that conscience because you killed it. So now you have to retrain yourself and awaken your conscience, awaken Anpu in you. Pahlenu Anpu. This is the season of ukupahla Anpu and ask for help in reawakening him, that energy or principle that is your conscience. Failure to do that, and here's the sad thing about people who kill their conscience. You start with small things, right? Small things, you're killing your conscience. You could end up a murderer easily. Why? Because when you don't have a conscience, it's so easy to justify your actions. Hello. I went to Enyangene. I had to go to see Gogo's Banban because you know what? He's not taking care of the kids that he's had with me. And now he's taken on another. I want both him and his new woman unalived. Happens. I've listened to voice notes. I've listened to voice notes where somebody is literally asking for help from a fellow healer to help her unalive. And then at some point she's like, no, man, I've changed my mind. I don't want you to unalive them. How about we just make my ex a cripple who cannot move, who cannot work anymore, and leave them together to suffer? Do you have a conscience at that point? No, you don't, because you've justified that behavior. You've literally talked yourself into becoming a murderer because you feel deep down that you've been wronged so badly. You forget key things. That person you're trying to unalive is the father of your kids. So then the question becomes, have you thought about how your kids will feel watching their father suffer like that or having to bury their father. No, you won't care. Why? You've killed your conscience. So even your own flesh and blood, your own children's pain is nothing to you. You won't care because you've told yourself over and over again that this person deserves what you're doing to them. Kati, we know one thing for sure. One of the laws, Ma'at, you do not take a human life because you didn't create it. You don't. So I'm using these extreme examples to show you how far you can go down the scale once you've killed your conscience. And don't ask me to come visit you in jail either. Andizi. Okay? Now, say you are here and you're watching this and you've done some really terrible things, right? I'm not here to judge you. Make amends while you still have time. Fix it while you still have time, while you're still breathing. This could be your last life. Go and make amends if you know you've done some heinous things, because those things are weighing heavy on your heart. Who here right now is sitting and they're feeling like, this go mara, why did I join this life? Hey, you joined this life for precisely this thing you're feeling. Fix it. And fix it genuinely, not because you're keeping a scorecard where you're like, I fixed it. And then you go back to your old ways. Asiko Christianity la, where you are forgiven 70 times, 70 times, 70 times. There are consequences to your actions. And if you've killed your conscience, you're probably doing some very bad actions. Yeah, marabakwantu. Mara, why ninja? Like, why are you like this? Even this hating on each other. Go fix yourself, because the reason you hate other people who look like you is because you hate you. Nene self-hate. You look at somebody with a nice plumpy nose and you're like, why? Because you hate yourself. Please go and palaza that toxin. You see someone doing well. You're jealous. Your jealousy causes you to override your conscience, and so you sabotage that person. You may think you're getting away with it, but guys, I just want to tell you this. You are getting away with nothing when you do bad things to other people. Now, I'm not talking about defending yourself, okay? See, if you come for me, I'm coming for you harder. That's different. Actually, that is creating balance. Because if you slap me on this cheek, I'm going to slap you on yours. Balance. My art seeks balance. What I'm talking about is malicious intent, where you've killed your conscience to the point that you literally take pleasure in causing someone else pain. You literally get up in the morning to stir crap so that somebody who's the target of your venom is miserable. Where's your conscience? You've killed it. That person has done you no good. Sometimes it's somebody who's actually been very good to you. That's the worst. Is when you kill your conscience to the point that you're hurting somebody who's been nothing but good to you. Feel it. Feel it. Or actually go and bury yourself while you're still alive. We have to come right. And this season gives us that opportunity. If you've killed your conscience, this is the season to pasha and wake it up again. Anpu is also a protector, by the way. Anpu is especially a protector of widows and orphans. Why? Because he presides over the death ritual. So he has that compassion for widows and orphans. Quick question. How many of you have widowed relatives and orphaned children, and you do absolutely nothing to help. Or because you don't get on with your sister who happens to be a widow, you know she's suffering with her kids, but because you and her not make sure, you're going to watch those kids suffer. Unembeza, your conscience is dead because those children have done nothing to you. The battle between you and your sister is between you and your sister. Keep it there. But these kids that have your blood in them, your ancestors are watching you. You've killed your conscience. Your heart is heavy. Even as you sit there and offering your nice food and watching your DSTV, your heart is heavy. The whole of judgment is waiting for you. You will not make it to that ancestral land. Spirits that have done terrible things, once they go to that hall of judgment, Amit transmutes them. She chows them and turns them into a form of energy that can no longer come back to do harm. So, pelile ngawe. And mark my words, those kids that you're neglecting, they could be the ones about kupulayo tomorrow. If only you knew how the ancestral thing works. It could be that those kids are the ones who will pour libation for you when you need to be energized as a spirit. It could be that one of those kids will choose to name one of their children after you. But no, Unembeza ufile kuwe. Uthi, bheka manje bayasokola. She thinks she's the what. You are nyoffing chips, slab chips, and what is this thing? Slab chips. You are nyoffing slab chips and Russian sausage. So make your heart heavier because there are children who need you. And you've killed your conscience so that their suffering doesn't move you. There are many examples I could give you. But you guys, are you hearing me? Someone is like, the laugh. You guys can make me cry anytime, but if I cried, like I'd be here crying every live if I didn't laugh, guys. Because you have no idea how it is to be a healer who sees so much, who hears so much, who dreams so much. It's very painful. You know, so I'm very grateful to Uma that I have this sense of humor that I literally can come here. And I do this so that I'm scolding you, yes, but it doesn't sound like scolding. But at the same time, I will not leave you because we need fixing. We're not going to get black unity. We're not going to fix the country. We are not going to fix the world because we are the parents of humanity. Our mission goes beyond Africa. And if you don't get that, if you don't get the magnitude of our mission, Tinabagwantu, as parents of humanity, I don't know what to say. So that's how big our work is. Therefore, we need to make sure that we come right. It starts with you and ends with you as part of a collective. If we are all doing the necessary work that we need to do, then as a collective, we create harmony and we create balance. That is our role here. Harmony and balance. Balance within ourselves. Because the universe is in balance, as above, so below. Balance within ourselves so that we can help balance out our communities, help balance out our continent, and then help balance out the world. Someone says scary stuff. This we need to change our doings. Vele, and it's time because Uma is not playing with people right now. I've gone and watched the couple videos I've done, the last previous videos, where I kind of give some prophetic messages. Kusazoshuba. And like I said, It's in this season where she says, ngizoyithatha le mphefumulo le ngisuse, because they've already done too much. Are you one of the ones who's done too much, who's about to be unalived? Because she's gonna do it. Because things need to be made right. And if there are people who are hindering things that need to be made right, bazosuswa by force or fire. This includes men, this includes women. If you are a waste of space and of no use to humanity right now, uzohamba. Sad part of it, many people will be relieved. You know, there are a lot of people, I always think about our death rituals. You know, the Shana have a saying, and the Karanga have a saying. They say, wafa wanaka, which means the person who has died has become good, meaning you cannot speak ill of the dead. That season is done. There are people who are going to go, and some of us will be like, yebo. Not because we're evil, but because they've had their boot on our necks for so long, their leaving is actually like, you can breathe again. This is the season of truth telling. This is the season of like right thinking, right walking. And you're not going to be, you see, you guys worry too much about the people who judge you, humans. They don't count for anything, these humans who are busy out there judging you. Who counts is Anpu and Ma'at and that chamber of judgment. So take care of your spiritual self. Because most of us, the problem that happens is you kill your conscience because you are so focused on the material. You are so focused on this physical plane. Many of you forget about your spiritual self, which is where really you ought to be investing the growth, is your spiritual self. Once you've invested in your spiritual self, let me tell you, the physical side of things takes care of itself. But most people have got it twisted. You are laboring for the things of the flesh. You are laboring for this dimension, this 3D. You are still in your root chakra and sacral chakra and solar plexus. You're nowhere near your heart. See, you're going to be judged by your heart, the state of your heart chakra, your heart. Not all those other chakras that are down there, the lower chakras, just your heart. And I've said this to you before, the state of your heart and having love is the second highest vibrational frequency for manifestation. Go and watch my lives before. You see, it all tracks. That's why I love African spirituality. It's all science and logic, right? But if your heart is heavy as well, number one, you won't manifest the things you want. And then number two, you're just going to become downright evil, because now you're not manifesting. Now you're frustrated. Now you're going to perpetuate your bad ways. You're going to sheba, you're going to be jealous, you're going to tagat, you're going to do all these snacks things because your heart is heavy, instead of working on your heart to make it light as a feather. Instead of making amends for the things that you've done wrong, because you got to make amends. And by making amends, it doesn't mean you go to someone to say, I'm sorry. In African spirituality, your I'm sorry doesn't mean anything. Even in the ancestral, when you've done something wrong and you are shwelezaring, yes, you use the words to ask for forgiveness, but you also make amends by offering something, peace offering. So y'all know yourselves and y'all know who you've done wrong to and what. Fix it. Fix it. And then work on yourselves. Work on staying high vibrational. Those widows in your community, those orphans that you see around, help. You have the capacity to help. Some of you will go and sit in a drinking spot or a restaurant and spend 6,000-7,000 rand on this side of the world. What, $500 with your bunch of friends on a meal and some drinks? What would it take from you to take just a portion of that to assist someone who is in real need? Dokuthi angilamali, really? Your conscience. Wake it up again. Are you someone who goes into groups and the minute you get there, there's total chaos? Ababhidlizi, imidlwembe, or set. Ngeke nilunge. Fix yourselves. Yeah. So, that is it for today. Oh, Shaila Mampama. Yo. But you guys know I love you, right? You know I love you too, as I always watch your teachings first ever catching you live. No, you're so welcome, Lerato. You're so welcome. Asmonila, dude, is there any questions? Let me see if there are any questions. Let's see. Any questions? Anyone with questions? Ndlovukazi, Geb, Lerato, ngibonile, ungibulisile, Rain Queen, Makhosi, Vilakazi. Wena gogo. Yo, you and me need to meet one day. Next time I'm in South Africa, ngizokucinga Makhosi. There's a lot. Let's see who else is here. Social media has given people the right to say anything to people they don't know. That is absolutely true, Gog. But again, it's catalyst. You see, that's the thing is, people seem to think, Uguti, you can hide behind a screen and cause havoc and pain in someone's lives. I just want to tell you something for nothing. In this age we're in, many of us, and you don't even need to be a sangoma or a healer to be able to do this. Many of us know rituals. We know rituals where things will start to go crazy in your life and you won't even know where it's coming from. You can't mess with human spirits. You see, spirits are of high intelligence, of very high intelligence. Everybody walks with ancestors. So don't for a minute think that you can hurt somebody and get away with it. But this is what people are doing. And then they start crying, Ntagatiwe, uztagatile self. Look in your days and see how many people, or you go on TikTok, or TikTok is particularly toxic, or whatever social media, and you comment rubbish on something that has nothing to do with you. Lo muntu lo angakubambela umoya yathi ngci. Everybody unamabutho, warriors. Everybody has angelic spirits, these higher order spirits. I will invoke Sekhmet, or even if it's not the season of Sekhmet. If it's wartime, I will invoke Sekhmet. And each of you can do the same. You're not different from me. All you need to do, though, is become consciousness. Raise your vibration. Stay there. And watch these cosmic principles respond to your call. It's always a call and a response. They are conscious. Like I was saying last time, the moon, she's very conscious. Unomkhubulwane. Umangwedi. Very conscious. The sun, Mvelingqangi, Ramasedi, conscious. The same way you are conscious. You can hear me, right? You're conscious enough to hear me, see me. It's the same way they are. So just be careful out there. You know, just like, again, if you're busy going and insulting people you don't even know, You've killed your conscience somehow. Unembeza will tell, and unabuntu. You see, once you kill your conscience, you know you lose ubuntu bako. That's why I said the nihilist ones don't have ubuntu because the conscience no exist though. You don't exist at all at all. You never have before. Okay? That's why they behave the way they behave. So when you are able to do bad to someone, you've lost or killed your conscience, and thereby you've lost ubuntu bako. You're just a melanated shell walking around. Ubuntu dololo. We need to redefine ubuntu. It's not just your melanin. The fact that you have this melanin means that you have the ability to behave and be and move in the world a certain way. When you kill your conscience, you've killed ubuntu bakho. Awusenabo ubuntu. Kahle kahle imidlwembe nalabo abathakatha ababulalayo bazohamba nomlungu, because once you've killed that, you are no different from them creatures. So mabo bazodukiswa, ilanga liyabashisa manje. There's a thing called sun poisoning. The sun is literally poisoning them. Bayaphalaza, bayaphekeka ngani inyama engulube efrayiweyo. Hayi kuyanyiwa. But it's because nature is getting back to them. We are not going to be affected because of the melanin. We are not the ones who created the ozone holes using chemicals. Isibaxaka thina ilanga, we eat the sun. We eat the sun. Sirhabula hydrogen nje. The more sun, the better for thina. Because kuyavuseleka izinto. They created this ozone hole, this layer, that literally in so many ways was to protect them more than us. So now the sun is poisoning them. Can you imagine something that gives, something that is life-giving? The life-giving force of the planet is poisoning the nihilist ones. What does that tell you? You guys underestimate this spirituality. Ne? You underestimate these cosmic forces. And they know exactly who to go for. The one who caused that damage. So, any other, someone saying, so Gogo, how can one? I nothing people who do me wrong when I've done them good. So they become nothing to me. I get that is a great thing. They become nothing to you because they have lost the right to be in your life. They have lost the right to be something in your life. And that you don't need to feel guilty about, because who is dumb enough that an enemy is stabbing you and you keep going back to the enemy to stab you more? So no, you're absolutely correct. Anger can kill it too. For example, if someone are my child, it will be easy for me to kill them. That is not what I'm talking about. If somebody kills your child or somebody R's your child, mina sef nyamlanda and yomsusa sehmet, we're seeking balance, because that thing that person has done, it needs an answer for. And we know the law is not on our side. We don't have traditional courts anymore where this person would get the justice they deserved from Amakosi and the Royal Council. We don't have that anymore. So what am I going to do? I will then be the one who does the justice. Nyamlanda lo muntu lo. You are one of my own. Yay. You are anybody I know. I'm coming for you. It's better if I don't know, I don't know. But if I know, I'm coming for you. And you will get your just desserts and retribution right here. And my hands will be clean. Because ngiyoyibika le ndaba ukuthi ndinga ubulungiswa manje. Justice, ma'at, balance, injalo. That's why you need to get out of this Christian way of thinking. Many of you are trapped by religion in your thoughts and your responses. I can see that. Get out of that. We are not there. Somebody does wrong to one of your own. In fact, you have an obligation to seek out justice by any means necessary. You have an obligation to protect your own. I hope says on. I love this Yamlanda part. Yo, guys, I think if we're done, can I say goodbye? I've been here for an hour now. If you guys are done. Siyavalelisa. I'll see you guys next time. But please do the work. Yazin, please do the work. We are in serious times that call for serious business and seriousness about the state of your soul. Forget about lezi zinye zenyama. Lezo, once the state of your soul is in order, these others will listen. It's just the natural laws of the universe. As above, so below. Fix that part. Fix you. Fix your spirit. Take care of your spiritual health. If you have processes and things that you need to do in the physical to assist your spirit self, please do it. Yeah. If you have murdered or killed, get the assistance you need to get right in your spiritual self. Once all those things are taken care of, the physical is easy. And there's something I need to tell you guys too. You have to understand this. You see, as Bagwantu, we have melanin, and melanin is a communication tool. Therefore, we are all linked, whether we like it or not. We are all, our melanin molecules are in constant communication amongst ourselves. Our ability to ascend as a people literally is predetermined by those low vibrational frequencies. These people are pulling us down. These are the people who are slowing down the process of getting to where we need to get. Please do right. Because you make it very heavy on the few who are committed and wanting to get right. If you are 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Go and be with the kneeless ones and wait for the ship. Because I don't know where in the world they're going to go, because it seems like they have no place except the Caucasus Mountains. So maybe the ship will take them to their mountains where they originate, because hey, they've caused a mess the whole world over. So if you see ukuthi vele ngangcono ususe kithi, you remove yourself from our community and go and wait with them for the ship that is taking them to the mountains. Yahamba lapho bayakudla nje yazi ukuthi badla abantu. You will be their bread and butter and their pork and steak, and you will be their chicken too. Yeah, guys. I'm done here. I love you guys so much. Please, please, please do right. Take good care of yourselves. You know, protect your children. Anpu is a protector and a carer for widows. Those children you see running around in your community, they're your kids. Okay? The only difference between us is the manifestation of our spirits here. But kahle kahle, emoyeni, we are one thing. If you could switch your mindset and your consciousness to that, we will get the Africa we want sooner than soon. I love you guys. Talk again.